Hello, my name is Becca and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing you the top 10 books that I want to reread. This does not include anything that I would be rereading because the new book in the series comes out, and it's only things that I want to reread because I love them so much. I'm pretty new to YouTube and this is my second video, so I thought this would be a good idea because then you would get to know a little bit the things that I've already read and the things that I love without me having to do some sort of like mega recap on my reading experience. I'm going to be doing these in order of ones that I'd least likely to reread to the one that I'd most like to reread. So let's get straight into it. So the first one is One Day by David Nichols. This was my favourite book in the entire world until A Court of Thorns and Roses came out. It is about two people who meet at uni. It takes place on the same day every year. So when it starts off, they've just graduated and they've had an all-night party and they go home together afterwards. It follows on from there from 1988 up until almost present day, around when the book was released. It essentially just follows the friendships of our two main characters, Emma and Dexter, throughout the years as they grow up from being, I'm going to say 21, through into their 30s. And I love this so much. I am reading a book that's similar at the minute. It's called The Versions of Us, and I'd love to reread this because I have only read it the once, but at the same time I'm worried that if I did reread it I wouldn't feel the same way about it as I did the first time I reread it. Book number 2. This is a series and a spin-off series. I'm most interested in reading the spin-off series, but I feel like if I did reread it I would reread the first series first, and that is Vampire Academy and Bloodlines by Rochelle Mead. These predate me even being on Goodreads, so I read these before 2014. These, I was reading them as they were coming out, so I waited a while for these ones. Vampire Academy is about a girl who is a bodyguard to vampires, and there's different types of vampires. There's good vampires and there's bad vampires, and she protects the good ones, and she goes to a school that trains her along with her friend who is a vampire who she is sworn to protect. I did not like this one as much as the spin-off series. And the spin-off series is Bloodlines, and this follows a character from Vampire Academy called Adrian Ivashkov, and also Sydney, I can't remember Sydney's last name, but Sydney is an alchemist, and alchemists are humans that are, their job is to cover up tracks of vampires so that normal humans don't find out about them. And Adrian is a vampire himself, and Sydney is going undercover to protect a vampire princess, I think she's a princess, so that the bad vampires can't find her and kill her. And Adrian is just there because he's friends with the vampire princess, and it's about them two and their adventures while they're protecting the princess. I really want to reread this because Adrian Ivashkov is my life and he was like my first book boyfriend. Number 3 is the Question Chronicles, starting with Beautiful Creatures. I read this so long ago. This was the first book that I ever bought from Waterstones because it was so pretty with the foil. I haven't read this in so many years. I don't even really remember what it's about, but there is a spin-off series that I'd like to read. But I liked these at the time. I probably wouldn't like it now if I reread it, but I still want to. And from what I remember, it's about a boy and a girl. The girl is a witch. I think when she turns 16 she's going to die, but I might be wrong. It is a very long time since I've read this. Number 4, Harry Potter. The real reason that I want to reread these is because it occurred to me not long ago that I've only actually read these once, and that was when they were coming out, and I haven't picked these up since. With Harry Potter it's strange because it feels like I know everything about it, but mainly that's because I've rewatched the film so many times, and the books I did actually only read them once. So yeah, I'd like to make my way through Harry Potter again. Number 5 is the Question Trilogy. I don't remember much about it. It was good, but not amazing, and I do like Leigh Bardugo's writing. I think the main reason I want to reread these is because when I read them, there was lots of terminology because it's set in Russia, and it's one of those books where Leigh Bardugo doesn't explain what the terminology means, you just pick it up as you go along. On the first page, the first line says, "The servants called them Malenchki, little ghosts, because they were the smallest and the youngest, and because they haunted the Duke's house like giggling phantoms." What is a Malenchki? I have no idea. There's no glossary. You just kind of have to pick up what's going on as it goes along. And I know that by the time I got to the 3rd book, I did know what most of the words meant, but at the beginning, I had no idea. I googled it. I got some sort of rough Russian translations of what they could mean, but not all of them, I think, are actual Russian translations. And Leigh Bardugo has made up some words inspired by the Russian language. So I'd like to reread these now, having a little bit more knowledge about what the Russian terminology is, and hopefully I'll enjoy them more. And then I'm ready to read Six of Crows. The Grisha is about a girl who is, I believe she's conscripted into some sort of army, and they fight darkness and shadows, and I believe there's monsters or demons in the shadows. And I believe that our main character, Alina, is sent to the war front, and she's fighting, and she discovers that she has magical abilities like the Grisha. I can't remember what the job of the Grisha is. What the job of the Grisha is. But they also have abilities, but Alina isn't Grisha. She doesn't have the same type of powers that they have. It's something different, and she's something different, and it's about discovering what she is. And she goes to the Grisha Academy, or Grisha, where the Grisha live, and trains there, and she meets the Darkling, who is the best villain in the world, or the most likable villain, or the most lovable villain. And we also have one of my favourite characters ever in here, and that's Nikolai. I think he's only introduced in the second book, but I do love Nikolai. Number 6 is a completely guilty pleasure read, The White Rabbit Chronicles by Gina Showalter. I don't really know why I like these books. Alice herself is, I'm going to say, shallow. I feel like the dialogue, especially in these books, and the descriptions, it's like what you would expect somebody who has no experience of being an actual teenage girl to write about a teenage girl. Like, the clothes that they wear, nobody would ever wear. But all I can tell you is it is a guilty pleasure. I would not consider it like a great work of literature. I'm not even sure I would recommend it. It's just something that I really enjoyed to read for some reason, and I think it is because of the love interest Cole. And I would like to reread these maybe on a day when I'm looking for a bit of book trash, because this is my book trash. As for what it's about, there are zombies, but only some people can see them. Alice trains to be a zombie killer, and when she was a young girl she saw the zombies kill her parents. When she's older, she resolves to get back and become a zombie hunter and kill them to avenge her parents. Number 7 is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I'm still so upset that Suzanne Collins has never written anything else. This was probably the first dystopian that I ever read, and I absolutely loved it. Katniss is my most hated character ever, but I still love the plot. My favourite book in this series is Catching Fire, and I just want to reread it to feel all of the nostalgia. My favourite parts are the bits in the arenas. I love the plots and intricacies and the traps in the arenas, and I love the Capitol. Effie Trinket is one of my favourite characters. She is just such a queen, and I absolutely adore her. I've been wanting to reread these for a while now. These also predate me being on Goodreads, so I read these before 2014, and it's about time that I read them again. Number 8 is The Queen of the Tealing. I'm not sure what this series is called. I think it's called maybe The Tealing Chronicles or just The Tealing. This is by Erica Johansson. And this is the first adult high fantasy book that I read. I think I read it towards the end of last year. But I would just love to read it again, knowing everything that I did or do after I'd gotten to the end. It is about a girl. Her name is Kelsey Glynn, and she is the princess of the Tealing, and she grew up with adoptive parents in hiding because her mother didn't want her wherever the throne is in the castle, because she would be in danger of people who were trying to kill the queen. So years pass, and Kelsey comes of age, and she is taken to the kingdom, and she is trying to become a queen, but she's also resolving her insecurities and general teenage angst and feelings that she has that she doesn't quite know how to explain or control yet. She also has a pretty exciting necklace that does some pretty cool stuff, and it's essentially about her struggle and the war between her kingdom and the neighbouring kingdom, Montmesnay. And it's a really good read. I'm glad that this was my first foray into adult fantasy. I absolutely loved it. I'm excited to move on to more things, but I would love to reread this because I just really enjoyed it so much. Number 9, The Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare. I believe I also read these before I was on Goodreads, and I absolutely adored them. Jace Wayland was one of my favourite characters ever. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. How do you explain Cassandra Clare? She's like a genius. I did enjoy the Mortal Instruments a lot more than the Infernal Devices, which is a pretty controversial opinion because I know a lot of people really, really enjoyed the Infernal Devices more, but I definitely preferred the Mortal Instruments. For those of you who don't know, where have you been? The Mortal Instruments is about, they're called Nephilim, they're half demons, no, half angels, half human, half demons? No, they're half angels, half human, and they fight demons and rogue downworlders, which are vampires, werewolves, fairies, things like that. And it is about our main character Clary, who is of Shadowhunter descent, but she doesn't know it. She has grown up believing that she's just a normal human, and she sees a demon when she goes to a club one night and doesn't know why, and it turns out it is because she is a Shadowhunter and she is meant to fight demons. So she finds some Shadowhunters, she meets them, and then she trains to be a Shadowhunter, much to her mother's disapproval. And finally we have number 10, the book that, well, the series that I would most like to reread. I absolutely loved these books, and as soon as I finished the series I just wanted to go straight back and start again, and I'm hoping that I will be able to do it sometime soon, and that is The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. I absolutely adored these, and I didn't even want to read them to start off with. I looked at the front cover and I thought, it's an android, it's a robot Cinderella. I don't like robots, and I don't like androids, and I don't like sci-fi. The main thing that got me hooked is that it's a Cinderella retelling, and the second book is a Red Riding Hood retelling. The third is Rapunzel, and the fourth is Snow White. But aside from brief similarities, you could not even tell that these are retellings. They are a complete story on their own. They are amazing. 10 out of 10 would recommend. One of the best series I've ever read, and I will never read anything by Marissa Meyer because she is some sort of goddess. So for those of you that don't know, The Lunar Chronicles is about lots of different characters, but the first book is about our main character Cinder. She's part robot, and she lives with her adoptive father's wife and their 2 children, but her, much like Cinderella, the wife or the woman that's looking after her absolutely hates her because she's a child that her husband brought home that she never wanted in the house. There's a lot of people who look down on her because she's half a robot. She's also a gifted mechanic, and the prince comes to have her repair his android, and she meets the prince and she's super excited, and it goes from there, and it turns out that there's a whole other plot involved, and it's about the moon and the earth and the future, and it is amazing. So read it. So that is it for the 10 books that I would most like to reread. I don't know when I will reread them or if I'll reread all of them. I would like to say that I will definitely reread some of them, but they are some of my most loved books. So that's everything for today, and that's everything from me. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up down here somewhere, and please subscribe to my channel. Bye!